dig up a past I swore would stay buried.
You will always be a monster.
Ares! I have nothing more to hide.
The ghost of Sparta had been born.
First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Kratos' first name is actually John. What in the WWE is going on? This was canonized by PlayStation. Imagine the Greek Spartan general who was made a god of war and killed the Greek pantheon wasn't actually called Kratos this whole time, but John.
Hell no, man.
Are you hearing this? I must be dreaming because this can't be real. Imagine being killed by a guy called John. I don't even know a John in real life. The only John I know is John Cena and Johnny Sims, neither of which are really threatening or intimidating characters, so I will not consider this canon. Kratos' name is Kratos. You can't convince me otherwise. Seriously though, this isn't actually canon. All this started with a joke shared on Twitter by The Guardian's gaming editor, Keza McDonald, that PlayStation UK jokingly claimed to be its head canon. Not even canon. So yeah, please don't go around calling Kratos John. Thanks. Anyway, let's get to the juicy stuff. Is there a remake of the OG God of War trilogy in the making? It seems so. Just a few days ago, Christopher Judge, in an interview, talked about how he refused to voice young Kratos out of respect for T.C. Carson.
How did you feel about T.C. Carson's portrayal of Kratos in Greece compared to your portrayal in Norse mythology?
I never watched any of the scenes from the earlier ones because TC's so great. And I thought it would be a disservice to try to voice match him or anything. And nor did they ask for it. From the very beginning, it was about making it my own. And TC is so extraordinary that my reverence for what he did wouldn't, even if they had asked, I would have said no. I was actually offered something not too long ago, and I had to turn it down because they wanted me to somewhat match the voice of that character. And I said, absolutely not. I mean, I love this dude.
But wait a second, didn't Christopher Judge already voice young Kratos in 2018?
Face me, father. It is time to end this.
Yes, my son. It is time.
Such chaos. I will have much to do after I kill you.
Face me, father. It is time to end this.
Yes, my son. It is time.
Well, the argument here is that the young Kratos we hear in Helheim isn't actually young Kratos and is more of a projection of young Kratos from old Kratos' mind, made by Helheim. And so Kratos remembers himself sounding the way he sounds now, rather than sounding all menacing and rage-fueled the same way T.C. Carson was. And this makes sense. Try to remember instances of yourself talking in the past. In your head, your past self will always sound like your present self, even if your past self sounded like a girl. So realistically, Christopher Judge never has and never will voice young Kratos. But here's the tricky part. Apparently, it was not Santa Monica Studios that asked Chris Judge to voice match young Kratos. In fact, it was for a different game / company other than War for Wakanda. So what is going on? The only other company I could think of that would ask Christopher Judge to voice match young Kratos is Blue Point Studios. They were the company behind the God of War 1, 2, and 3 remasters, and they could potentially be working to remake the original God of War trilogy. Not only that, but Blue Point Studios has been recently acquired by Sony, the same company that owns Santa Monica Studios. Santa Monica Studios is the company that made all the God of War games, by the way. This would mean that if Blue Point Studios is working on a remake for the OG God of Wars, they could easily work alongside Santa Monica Studios. But isn't Blue Point Studios working on their own original IP at the moment? Actually, if you just reread the interview from 2021 with Marco Thrush, where he talks about the next project for Bluepoint Studios, he says, "Our next project, we're working on original content right now. We can't talk about what that is, but that's the next step in the evolution for us." Notice the wording original content. He could have easily said original IP to be less ambiguous. I think this clearly implies that Bluepoint might be working on new content for an already existing IP. An existing IP which could very well be God of War. But if that does not convince you, in a more recent post, Bluepoint Studios has claimed that they are working on a quote-unquote beloved remake, even if it is alongside an original IP. Bluepoint Studios not only remastered God of War 1, 2, and 3, but they were the company that remade Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls. And I must say, those remakes were fantastic. They included better graphics and better mechanics, and they overall improved on the base game tenfold. So if the remakes of the OG God of War games are in the hands of Bluepoint Studios, I'm not that worried. The only problem is that the OG God of War games have more dialogue and story to them than Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls do. And naturally, as remakes of beloved games, I would assume the company would want to improve the story and dialogues of the trilogy, and I am not too sure how they would pull that off. But one thing's for sure, if they were the ones who asked Christopher Judge to voice match young Kratos, things are already not looking too good. Because we want TC Carson as young Kratos.
You lost everything. And everyone. You became...
You need not remind me.
There is no forgiving you. You chose!
There are reasons for that.
Anyway, there you have it. Shout out to Popstar, the first official Gaming God of War member of the AB Debate community. I am very grateful for your subscription, Popstar. You already probably had early access to this video, as it is one of your perks, but hit me up if you would like to collab or join me on a live stream where we could just chat or play a game of your choice. Also, if I could have your Instagram username, I would love to add you to the Gods of War Council group chat. Your comments would be my top priority, as it is one of your perks as a Give Me God of War member of this channel. For anyone else who wants to dig into the membership perks of this channel, just click the join button down below to see the perks of each membership tier. Join with demigod status to gain access to the Gods of War Council, where we can discuss your theories, ideas, and more. Other than that, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more content just like this. And don't forget to comment what you think of these crazy ideas down below.